compared to combined budget of all ITs, 10 times of that is the size of the coaching industry in India. Now, coaching industry, again, one of my mentees who is into online coaching industry, he got a tremendous boost because he was working in B and C class cities, not in A class cities. And with COVID coming, oh my God, his revenues have gone 8 times up because of the COVID. So these kind of people, their requirements, when you are in a startup mode, again, I'm taking you to the startup mode, your requirement of funding could be lower, and you may be happy to develop your idea into a product or service and get seed funding, and then you're done. So your requirement may be much lower. So on one end, setting up university, and the other end, doing this online service of one part, like 2 examples I gave you, that corporate communications and placement, for example. You don't need much money for that. You need much smaller money. So your capital requirement, your resource requirement. But one thing is very sure, one of the very important resources in education sector is the qualified and knowledgeable people, which is very, very. My experience in last, I would say, last almost 10 to 15 years, because students come to me because of educational projects. My experience has been that the guys don't even know what is NCERT. Okay, they don't know much about even the ministry's annual report. They don't even, they don't have the basic overview or macro view of the sector in which they are working. So my suggestion to the viewers is that whichever sector one goes into, you have to have a global view, you have to have a national view, macro view, and then come down to the micro view of what you are talking. Because if you don't have a clear, bigger picture, you will never be doing justice to yourself.
Exactly. Sir, that really satisfies my question, and I think for the viewers that will be really helpful, like in the complete education sector, in which particular part they want to enter, and accordingly they can go ahead for the detail. So moving forward, for every particular industry or sector setup, we do have to fall aligned with some licensing and paperwork. That is one of the very major part, and abiding those rules is the utmost priority, and everyone should follow that. So whosoever aspiring people who wants to set up any particular section of this sector, so what kind of licensing, just a little brief about the licensing and paperwork that prevails for current time, and they should know about it. Please give
Trichy, again, to answer your question, the requirements will be completely different for MSME as well as startup. For example, MSME, the number of licenses and regulatory approvals they need is going to be much more than anything else. Okay, because supposing you are operating within municipal limits, you need certain kind of approvals from the municipality itself. For example, your product is affecting the environment, you need pollution control clearance. So you need all kinds of clearances, which numbers are much heavier in case of an MSME as compared to startup. But in case of startup as well, there are so many approvals one needs. For example, you are doing something which requires Reserve Bank of India approval. If you are in fintech, you need that approval. Okay. For example, one particular person came to me and he was talking about drone to be used for female security. He was wanting to provide private security to women by they could utilize his drone services. Okay. Now, the fellow should have known that Director General of Civil Aviation gives clearances for drones of size of more than 1.5 kilograms. Up to 1.5 kilogram, which the photographers using it commonly. There's no clearance from DGCA is required. So, the sector in whichever you are, again, I'm not talking specific things because I gave you the example of provision of buses to a school. So the guy is providing service to school, but he'll need approval for the RTO. Okay. So your approvals will be in line with the product and service you are dealing with. So that is what will change. So even if you are providing drone service in the university, I think you may need the DGCA approval. Otherwise, you may not need it. But there are certain things and certain points which are very, very important, and based on my past experience, I have seen where all startups do mistake, and that is they don't form themselves into a legal entity. When I say legal entity, it is are you a partnership? Are you a limited company? Who are you? So you have.
Is there something?
You have to have a particular, form of organization which has a legal meaning. Otherwise, you can't enter into agreements.
Yeah.
Now, this I have seen almost 80% or even more than 80-90% cases where the startup guy, being an engineering guy, has concentrated all his time and energy into idea and product and the market, and full stop. Again, I repeat, idea, product, market. He has no understanding of the commercial side, which very interesting question which you asked me. He has no understanding of approvals, he has no understanding of the commercial side. And in certain cases, when he went to raise the funding, if you're not even a company, who will buy your shares? There are no shares.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
True.
So I have come across many such cases where such guys have wasted 2-3 months of their time to convert themselves into a company and then go for due diligence and all those kind of things and waste it all. So this is one kind of, I would say, regulatory side requirement which I always suggest to people who are serious about whatever they are doing. They should get into the legal part of their organization as early as possible, whenever.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a common thing.
Yeah. Definitely, sir. I mean, even I would really request all the students and inspiring entrepreneurs who will be associating with Business Charcha that please focus on the licensing and paperwork thing, because that is a very crucial point for your business, and that we should not skip for sure. So thank you so much, sir. Moving ahead, ending to the almost the end part of this session. So keeping everything in mind, I mean, definitely the very small details of the industry, whosoever will be entering to this part, they will get into one-to-one sessions with you and they can ask the further question. But summing up everything, I would like to come up to the last question for this session. Whosoever, even let's say A is a person and he is going to enter in this industry and he wants to set up his career, or let's say his coaching sector or his school here in the education section. So he will definitely evaluate or account 10 years down the lane, what will be the face of this industry, I mean the education sector, or what will be the scenario of the education sector and training sector. So as per your knowledge, your previous experience and your present experience and your foresight for the coming days, what will be the actual face of the education and training sector in India in 10 years down the lane from today? So please.
That's a very interesting and very important question which you have asked me, because there are two aspects to it. One is the regulatory aspect of it. The National Education Policy has given time up to 2030 and 2040 for two different purposes. So the changes are going to be in 10 years and 20 years down the line. But obviously changes don't happen overnight, so they will be gradually over a period of time. So one is because of the regulatory reasons. So that will depend upon the way the National Education Policy is implemented by Government of India and the way it is taken up by the education sector in the country. So that is one part of it. But there are certain things which are going to get very obvious where I see a lot of potential. One is growth of online courses and everything relating to that. I gave you the example of credit, gave you the example of rating and ranking in terms of online courses. You have courses coming out of Coursera, you have courses coming out of Unacademy and Swayam and Harvard University, Stanford University, MIT. Which course should I do? Who will tell me? Okay, so those kind of questions need to be addressed, and I think there's a lot of scope and potential in that area which is about to come up. That's number one. Number two, with the advent of knowledge economy, when due to machine learning, artificial intelligence and IoT, etc., people are, and robotics and mechatronics, people are going to get a lot of free time. I tell you, there's going to be a huge advent of creative arts and performing arts. Now, creative arts and performing arts together with art and culture of the nation. Now, if somebody can develop products and services in that area, because which can be clubbed very easily with the education, because education has been opened up in terms of open credits. That it has been broad-based. So when supposing you are doing Bachelor of Science, because I'm sure in times to come there will be only two BAs, like in America, either it is Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Arts. There's nothing like BTech. Nothing like BTech. Nothing going to be like B Pharma. So when you are doing Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science, you have choice of picking up lots of such courses like I want to learn tabla. Okay, I want to learn tabla. Can tabla be provided as an online program or not? If yes, no. So that is one area where I see lots of potential in terms of the market, which can be synchronized with education center, or which can be done without education center, or which can address the training needs, or which can address the skill set need, without taking into account education sector. So this knowledge economy, which the way it is coming up or is going to come up, will also define some other skill sets. For example, soft skills. I am very sure our university students are still struggling with soft skills even today. So if you ask me the question, where is the gap? I think soft skill was a gap, soft skill is a gap, and soft skill is going to remain a gap. So down the line, whether 5 years or 10 years, see, if the students are weak in their basics of language, how can they communicate effectively? So that needs to be sorted out. So that's another area where I see the potential of growth. And as I told you earlier, this ERP kind of things, that's the functionality of provision of education at school, college and university in terms of HR services, in terms of security services, in terms of food services, in terms of transport services, in terms of placement services. All these offer a great scope and potential. Okay, but to my mind, the biggest opportunity is in online courses.
Sir, yeah, definitely that was also really knowledgeful, and to viewers who must be thinking or who are expecting that they will be continuing with their career building in this particular sector, they can get a clear idea with this last question and the answer given by you, that whether and how to enter to this sector. So let's sum up this session, sir. Some last few lines from you about this sector, Business Charcha, and about this session in collaboration.
First of all, my thanks to Business Charcha that you took my views, and I am always available for any viewers and subscribers of Business Charcha.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, education and training both are a area which have tremendous potential because of the global changes we are going to see, because of the conceptual changes we are going to see, because of the lifestyle changes we are going to see, and it's going to be a very, very, very challenging world. And there's a tremendous opportunity. One of the areas which I did not cover is again mergers and acquisitions and takeovers, because a lot of bad colleges are going to be closed very soon. So that's another area of business opportunities. So I'm sure, because a lot of people are selling off their land and building of their colleges and universities. So universities are
exactly.
And setting up new universities again is a wonderful area where people can do wonders. So I think it's an emerging area, and it's a challenging area, full of opportunities, and it provides lots and lots of flexibilities in terms of resources, in terms of services to be provided, in terms of size, in terms of quality, in terms of quantity. I think it's a great area to get into.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to conclude the session that whosoever who are the viewers and who are looking forward to create their career in education and training sector, this is one of the never-ending sector. I mean, education can never evade from the society and definitely training is coming up. So education is going to be in collaboration with training very strongly and very bindly, and there is a great future in this sector, and definitely we are having such great experts with us who have like complete history background with all the countries, and definitely a complete knowledge with the Indian history and background of education sector. So yeah, experts like you will keep on guiding the budding students who are looking forward to take the sector forward and add more feathers to the cap. So yeah, thank you so much, Vinay sir, for coming forward and joining this platform and giving such a beautiful insight, such an informative insight of this sector about you as an expert. And it was a very fruitful and knowledgeful session. And I am just requesting all my viewers that whosoever is looking forward to have a complete one-to-one session with Dr. Vinay Nangia sir, they can land to Business Charcha platform website. The link will be given in the description box, and there the complete profile of Vinay sir is provided. You can have a view, and then you can register to our packages and plan, and you can have a great session with Vinay Nangia sir ahead in one-to-one session. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much for coming forward. Yeah, we'll be in touch. We'll keeping in touch. We'll have another good session with you in some time with your schedule. And yeah, looking forward for blooming of this sector and Business Charcha with your support and help.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
My
Thank you.
best wishes to you and your viewers.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah.